A new report by the U.S. government shows that the U.S. turned a complete blind eye to gross human rights abuses that were being committed by the Afghan military. Some of those abuses even included crimes against children. The heavily redacted report released this week by the Special Inspector General for Afghan Reconstruction, known as SIGAR, was commissioned by the administration of former President Barack Obama and was supposed to remain secret/no foreign until June 2042. According to the report, the U.S. military has given a free pass to the Afghan accusers on no less than 5,735 cases between 2010 and 2016, breaching the Leahy Law, which states military aid to the offending unit must be stopped. Now, the SIGAR said that there is a loophole in the Leahy Law called the Notwithstanding Clause that was being reportedly abused by militaries in Afghanistan to continue giving money to units which were committing human rights abuses. Now, the report doesn't actually say how many times U.S. soldiers ignored reports about the practices of bachabazi. If you're familiar with the concept, that's where very young boys are dressed up as women and frequently sold as sex slaves or rented, where some Afghan commanders kept these underage boys as sex slaves. Although the DoD, the Department of Defense, and state have taken steps to identify and investigate child sexual assault incidents, the full extent of these instances may never be known. Now, a Captain Dan Quinn spoke to the New York Times. Now, he's a former U.S. Special Forces officer who was fired for allegedly beating up an Afghan pedophile, said that the U.S. military was directly to blame for the growing problem. We were putting people into power who would do things that were worse than the Taliban did. Now think about what's being said. This former U.S. soldier is admitting that the people that were placed in power after the toppling of the Taliban are worse than the people that they were replacing. That's right. If the goal of the whole invasion of Afghanistan was to get rid of the Taliban, they have objectively made things worse. Not even just the killings, the 1.5 million people that have been killed as a result of the U.S. war in the country, but the replacement is worse than the people that they were getting rid of. Now think about that. They're worse, and the U.S. is still giving money to units that aren't supposed to be getting it under the law. Now, if the U.S. government this occupation is really all about improving the lives of the Afghan people and trying to bring terrorists to justice, why continue to go on with these abuses? Why continue to let them go on? Because it's obvious that that's not what this is about. U.S. imperialism is desperately trying to hold on to a country that is trying to resist their occupation of it. Now, I'm no fan of the Taliban, but it is very clear that the U.S. has objectively made Afghanistan worse. This isn't about saving the Afghan people, as they claim. This is about occupying the country and stealing the mineral resources that have laid under the Afghan soil for decades that have yet to be fully tapped. This is why the war is pushed so hard, even though essentially the war has already been lost. That's not what this is about. This is about stealing the resources of the Afghan people and using them for the profits of private corporations. And this is another signal that tells us why we really have to end this war, and why U.S. imperialism in the region is never the progressive force that they claim it is. Despite cries of pink imperialism, the U.S. military is never a progressive and liberating force. Thank you for watching. If you like this program, then please head over to my Patreon page and set up a monthly donation. It's your donations that keep this program running. Also, if you would like, please rate, comment, subscribe, and share in various social media.